Tonight, small town terror, the counterterrorism raid that has shaken the town of Strathroy. Plus, uncovering Aaron Driver, the story behind the man who intended to inflict mass casualties. And Strathroy in shock.
Kind of scary to have something like that living in town when you don't even know that somebody's around like that.
The community impact from a moment of terror. Aaron Driver, the man at the center of a terrorist plot, was taken down in dramatic fashion before he was able to detonate an explosive device designed to cause harm to a large group of people.
Good evening, I'm Tara Overholt. The war on terror has arrived suddenly and violently in southwestern Ontario. Following a tip from the FBI early Wednesday, RCMP and local law enforcement agencies descended on Strathroy, a town of roughly 20,000 people, working quickly and with precision to prevent a deadly terror plot from unfolding. We have full team coverage tonight. Sean Irvin is in Strathroy, where residents are still absorbing the shock of this story. Daryl Newcomb has the story behind Aaron Driver, the man who was planning the attack. And Brian Bicknell has the latest from the RCMP about exactly what happened. The Mounties made it clear today that this was an international operation and that it was quick work on both sides of the border that led to the plot being foiled. Brian Bicknell joins us with the details on this. Brian.
At 8:30 Wednesday morning, RCMP were alerted by the FBI of an imminent terrorist threat by an individual. By about 11 o'clock in the morning, they believed they knew who that was. Later that afternoon, 24-year-old Aaron Driver would be dead after being apprehended by police. What originally got the attention of the FBI was a chilling video they obtained and then passed on to Canadian authorities.
So today is the day you experience what it's like to be targeted for your belief, inshallah.
It's this disturbing video that set off the chain of events Wednesday that would put a small community on edge and lead to the violent death of a terror suspect. In it, a then unidentified male wearing a mask warns of bloodshed and calls the West enemies of Islam.
I give my pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Amir al-Mu'mineen. He's called for jihad in the lands of the Crusaders, and I'm responding to this call.
RCMP say they received the video and intelligence from the FBI, warning of an imminent terrorist threat in a Canadian urban center. Later that morning, they would hone in on the Strathroy residence of Aaron Driver. The 24-year-old had been living with his sister for the past year under a court order restricting his movements. In 2015, he had been arrested for openly supporting ISIS, but had not been charged. At 4:30, Driver exited the home and got into a cab when he was apprehended by police. An explosion went off, a shot was fired by police, and then he would be dead.
A very split second, he got into the cab, something detonated. There will be an autopsy because it's not clear how Mr. Driver died. He was engaged with police. A firearm was deployed. But I can't confirm if there was a potentially shrapnel that he took in from the inside of the cab or whether it was the engagement with the police.
Driver had called Leo's taxi service, according to the owner's son. He wanted to be taken here, City Plaza in downtown London, about a 40-minute drive away.
We just dispatched the driver to go pick him up, and then he was there, and then I didn't hear from him for about a half hour, and then next thing you know, I got a phone call, hey, this happened, so.
The taxi driver narrowly escaped the vehicle before the detonation. Later, at 1:30 Thursday morning, the body of Aaron Driver was removed from the driveway of the home. Police say it could have been much worse had they not caught on to Driver when they did.
Ended rather tragically, but that could have a completely different ending with a significantly greater loss of life.
So what were Aaron Driver's plans, and why did he want to go to City Plaza in the heart of downtown London during rush hour? Did he have a specific target? These are some of the questions that RCMP hope to answer in the days to come. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Brian. So who was Aaron Driver and what led to his radicalization? The complex picture is beginning to come into focus today through interviews with former friends at the mosque he attended and even from his own words. Daryl Newcomb has more.
About a year ago, Aaron Driver appeared at the London Muslim Mosque for prayers. A GPS tracker on his wrist and a willingness to express extreme beliefs led to a call to police.
We decided to try and engage him with the knowledge of the police to try and bring him into the community.
Officials with the London Muslim Mosque attempted to intervene with additional teachings and counseling on the true meaning of Islam, but could not get through to the young man radicalized by ISIS.
He's a young man who had some very strong opinions, as we've seen on social media, and there were times where he did push back and withdraw a little bit with that engagement, but we continued those efforts.
According to a former friend, it wasn't the first time Driver had been to the London Muslim Mosque. As a teenager, he lived a troubled life, including drug use and not finishing high school. The former friend tells CTV News he converted to Islam to turn his life around.
He was a fundamentalist in the same way that, a priest would be a fundamentalist or a rabbi, that they follow the fundamental tenets of the faith. But yeah, he appeared as a well-mannered guy, and then later on he turned out like this.
Eventually, Driver moved to Winnipeg to finish his high school at this adult learning center. But he was lonely, evidenced by this post reportedly made by him on the website Reddit. Most of my family and friends are back in Ontario, as I pretty much grew up there and made most of my friends through school. I still need to have some kind of active social life to maintain my sanity. I'm feeling pretty lost. By 2014, Driver came to the attention of police for social media posts that supported the attack on Parliament Hill. On February 2nd of this year, he agreed to a 10-month-long peace bond. Some conditions restricted his internet and social media use, though those conditions were set to expire in just 3 weeks.
There was certainly no signs that he was escalating or thinking of carrying out any type of attack.
And his former friend tells me, Tara, that he never spoke much about his family nor his childhood. He only learned details after a chance meeting with Driver's former girlfriend here in London. Driver was estranged from his father, and his mother died when he was a child.
Okay, great work tonight. Thanks for digging up those great details. Well, for Strathroy residents who are used to a quiet life, being thrust into the worldwide news is unnerving, but not nearly as unnerving as the details around the incident. Sean Irvin joins us from Strathroy with more on their thoughts tonight. Sean.
Well, Tara, for Strathroy residents, this is a movie set come to life for all the wrong reasons. It seems if you ask anyone who lives here, Strathroy is proud to be known and billed as a quaint, sleepy little town. But Wednesday night, that all changed. Scenes like this are hard to take for those who've called this place home for decades. You consider this a quiet place, eh?
Oh, very quiet. I've lived here all my life.
Never anything like this.
God, no. Hope it never happens again.
But that's downtown. The reaction near the scene of Wednesday's events is much more dramatic and close to the heart. Some, like this woman, lived close, very close, as in right across the street to the alleged terror suspect. She even spoke to Aaron Driver on occasion.
I see him, this guy, the one is killed a lot of times because you outside, they cross from the streets. He looks a normal person.
Of course, things were far from normal by mid-Wednesday afternoon. The description of what nearby neighbors heard is similar.
It was around 4 o'clock and I heard this big loud bang and I was like, what's that? And then I had to go over to my friend's place and he's just a couple blocks down and he said he heard like gunshots.
In the aftermath of the evening's events, some residents awoke to learn a co-worker appeared to have been involved. Many tell us Aaron Driver worked here, something company officials were not commenting on. This woman's husband has seen him around.
He knew of him, but
not enough to comment either way.
No.
What his demeanor was like or anything like that.
No, not at all.
And if Strathroy residents didn't know him, they and many parts of the world do now. It's still a frightening reality a day later.
And there's a lot of kids around here. Their homes, they're, small town. You're scared to let your kids out now.
And now from shock to disbelief to what will soon be coping with the reality of what has happened here. But for residents again, Tara, they're just hoping to soon get back to sleepy little Strathroy.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sean Irvin, live tonight. As the situation was unfolding in Strathroy last night, residents in a quiet London neighborhood were also on edge as a flurry of police descended on a school before moving to a nearby street. A home on that street has now been confirmed by RCMP as the second residence involved in this terror investigation. Now, our Kelda Yoon was at the scene in the wee hours last night and joins us with more on this. Kelda.
Hi, Tara. Well, yes, RCMP confirmed during their press conference this afternoon that 43 Blanchard Crescent is the second residence involved in their investigation. They would not reveal any other details, but we do now know that the flurry of police activity in the northwest London neighborhood yesterday is connected to the events in Strathroy. The area has since been cleared, but last night the scene kept many residents on edge. This was the scene at Wilfrid Jury Public School at 8:30 last night. Numerous police vehicles, including emergency response as well as a command center, had moved into the school's parking lot on Lawson Street. Then, about an hour later at around 9, officers began descending on nearby Blanchard Crescent, blocking off entrance to the small street. That's where they remained until the early morning hours. All right, have a good night. This was the scene at 1 a.m. Residents who hours ago were outside trying to get answers now mostly fast asleep. Finally, just before 1:30, armored vehicles could be seen leaving Blanchard Crescent and the scene was gradually cleared out. While all this was going on, a command center remained stationed at Wilfrid Jury Public School. At the time, the officer there would only say that London police are in the area to ensure public safety as they aid the RCMP with an investigation. That investigation, we now know, was conducted at 43 Blanchard Crescent, an investigation the Mounties say is continuing.
Our investigation has also led to a second location at 43 Blanchard Crescent in London, and we are continuing to investigate that location as it relates to Mr. Driver's activities.
Kelda Yoon, CTV News.
Although this planned attack was thwarted by security services, it is still a very traumatic event for many people. We are joined by Catherine Lambert from Vanier Children's Services. Thank you for joining us tonight. So what advice do you have to folks who are emotionally distraught by this or upset with everything that they are seeing?
Absolutely. We think it's normal, in these type of situations when your safety or security, if you feel that that's at risk, to be upset by that. And I think you have to pay attention to really how you're feeling. I think if your anxieties, it's normal for anxiety to be high. Making sure that you're talking with your loved ones and also friends. If you don't have anyone to talk to, reaching out to beyond your family and your support system. I think coming together as a community and kind of rallying around each other, continuing with our normal routines of daily activity is important because that brings predictability and some calmness back to our lives.
Okay. It's hard enough for adults to deal with something like this, so I can't imagine children who are likely seeing this on media and hearing about it and maybe even dealing with it in Strathroy. What would you say for parents?
Absolutely. Children's reactions will vary depending on their life experiences. And often children may not be able to express how they're feeling with their emotions verbally. So they may be expressing that through their behaviors that may be changing. So one of the advice we would give as parents is pay attention to the cues your child is giving you. They may need you closer than they would have before. And just being able to nurture them and listen to them. For parents to stay calm and give children, answer their questions, to pay attention to what they're saying and to validate how they're feeling, giving them information in as much as they need and not overloading them with too much information would be important because depending on where they are developmentally, their ability to process that information will vary.
So I guess stay calm and just talk to your friends and your family out there.
Absolutely, and there are services in the community available to help families and caregivers talk to their kids as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your insight tonight, Catherine.
Thank you.
And this story is not over. It will continue to unfold in the coming days, so if you want to know more, you can go to our website, ctvlondon.ca. Now, we have raw interviews there, plus the entire RCMP News conference, photo galleries of the crime scene, and much more. But we're going to turn to other news now today. It is being called a rare occurrence in the town of St. Thomas as police continue to investigate a suspicious death. Natalie Quinlan joins us with more on the events. Natalie.
Yeah, that's right, Tara. At around 12:45 this morning, police and EMS were called to the residence behind me here, 337 Talbot Street in St. Thomas, for medical assistance or a medical emergency. Now, police aren't releasing a lot of details about the victim, but what they are saying is that he is a 20-something-year-old male, and he was brought to St. Thomas Elgin Hospital, where he later died.
Very scary thing, and it's St. Thomas, for Pete's sake, you know?
That's the reaction Pat Bacon had after a suspicious death occurred next to her shop this morning.
You know, when I saw it on Facebook this morning, I went, oh my goodness, you know, that's the shop.
And while residents are hoping to confirm speculation swirling around social media, authorities remain tight-lipped.
At this time, we're not releasing any information. The investigation is in its infancy at this time still, so we're currently investigating to find out what exactly happened here.
Police say the residence where the death occurred belonged to the victim, but aren't revealing the cause of the victim's death at this time. Police and residents added the apartment building wasn't known for suspicious activity either.
We don't even see the residents upstairs. They come and go by the stairway right next door to us, you know, so no, never seen anything suspicious.
Now, Tara, like I've said, not a lot of information is being released around the victim or even the suspect's identities or suspect identity involved in this incident. However, what we do know is that next of kin have been notified, and also an autopsy took place in London today. Tara?
Thank you so much, Natalie. Some dramatic moments this afternoon in Delaware as what is believed to be a tornado touched down just after 1 p.m. Witnesses say the storm that went through the area began rotating and caused damage to a few homes in its path. An hour ago, a team deployed by Environment Canada arrived on site to determine if this was a tornado.
Yeah, so we need to have evidence that there was a tornado. So in this case, there was some excellent video of it, and you talk to people that have also seen it, which confirms the video is real, and then we also look at the damage. In this case, there's very light damage, so we might not have thought it was a tornado without that video evidence.
From my garage, I saw across in the cornfield, the rain was coming down and it got really, really windy, and I saw the rain actually started to twirl, and it was just going right across the cornfield and hit these two houses right here, and made some damages.
And for more on this intense storm that we were dealing with, let's check in with Julie Atchison. Julie.
Thanks so much, Tara. Some heavy thunderstorms rumbling through parts of our region this afternoon. Environment Canada issuing a special weather statement indicating the possibility of 25 to 50 millimeters of rain falling in some of these heavier storms, and of course some strong gusty winds. But we have video to share with you tonight of that funnel cloud and again possible tornado. Let's get to it so we can see the funnel cloud in the area. Kevin Arnold sent this video in this afternoon. This was shot at 12:30 on the 402 near Longwoods Road, and you can clearly see that funnel cloud. Now, let's talk a little bit about a land spout. Now, it doesn't have the same ingredients that a supercell tornado does. A land spout begins as horizontal tubes of air that get tilted upright by an updraft of a thunderstorm. Usually, there are no wall clouds that are associated with land spouts. The look of the funnel is usually narrow and hard to identify until it really starts picking up the debris. Now, land spouts are typically short-lived and weak. And I was in contact with Environment Canada this afternoon, and we'll continue to watch these storms develop as we move through the evening. Right now, we have one in Perth County. It was quite heavy near Milverton in the last 15-20 minutes, and you can see it continues to move to the east. Let's take a closer look at the intensity. Look at the lightning action showing up just north of Stratford right now. Heavy downpour associated with this. It's hot, it's humid. We have a bit of a breeze in London right now, but again, not everyone saw thunderstorms today. Look at the temperature differences. 25 in Mount Forest, just picking up that storm. Temperature dropping just a bit. 32 in Sarnia, 29 degrees in London on the hour, and 28 in Wyerton. This is what it feels like. So with the Humidex in London feeling like 39, feeling like a 41 in Sarnia. Much of the same as we move into tomorrow. This front will slowly slump down. As a result, we could see more storm action develop tomorrow afternoon. The greatest risk coming tomorrow will be in the evening. I'll get you up to date. We'll take a look at the weekend weather forecast. All of that coming up. Tara?
Okay, thank you, Julie. 5 men were injured in a lightning strike near the Calgary airport Wednesday.
Felt like getting hit with a baseball bat. Just boom.
4 men working on a metal roof were coming down a ladder when they were struck. 2 men suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Another man was also injured by the same lightning strike about a half block away. 2 barn fires in the past week near Mildmay have caused nearly $1 million in damage. This barn just north of Mildmay went up in flames yesterday around 4:30 in the afternoon. No animals died in the blaze, but because conditions are so dry, a nearby wheat field caught fire as well, forcing firefighters to battle 2 blazes at once. On Saturday, a different fire killed 8 cattle and destroyed a barn west of Mildmay. Firefighters suspect yesterday's fire may have been electrical in nature, while they aren't sure what sparked Saturday's. The notorious video featuring Rob Ford smoking crack cocaine was made public today, angering the late Toronto mayor's family and drawing mixed public reaction. The video was released after the conclusion of a court case involving Ford's friend and driver Alexander Lisi, who had faced an extortion charge related to efforts made to retrieve the clip. Some people complained that publishing the video was tasteless, while one Twitter commenter said the 3-year-old video was just sad to watch. Ford died on March 22nd from a rare form of cancer at age 46. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. Goat's milk. Why milk production in Ontario is expanding beyond the traditional dairy farm. Plus, Pool Power. How Canada's Olympic swim team is finding unanticipated success.
Hey, coming up, names the game for the new NHL Vegas team, how the Knights are involved, but not really. Plus, Penny pushing for gold. It's ahead in your first sports.
Our weather snapshot tonight takes us to Port Stanley, and just a beautiful capture if you're planning on heading to the beach this weekend. I'll have the weather to tell you about. Of course, we're looking for a mix of sun and cloud, but the chance for rainfall. Humidity will break Sunday into Monday. So the cold front comes through Sunday and the cooler air will filter in behind it. Thanks, Carrie, for this great snapshot tonight. I love it. Stay with us. I'll have your forecast coming up.
It wasn't that many years ago, milking goats was considered a cute, part-time little cottage industry. But times have changed. The thirst for goat's milk, and specifically goat's cheese, has led to rapid expansion in the industry. Scott Miller explores this in this week's Fields to Forks feature.
It's milking time at Frank Haven Farms near Whitechurch. It's a 3 to 3.5 hour job happening twice a day.
I guess we started milking probably in between 15 and 20 years ago. Right now we're milking right around just over 900 dairy goats.
Milking each goat doesn't take long at all, 5 to 10 minutes or less, making milking more of a carousel than a waiting game.
The average goat gives about 3 liters of milk a day. Compared to like a cow, it's kind of 10 to 1. So one cow will eat as much as 10 goats and produce the same amount of milk as well.
You might say goats have more personality than most other livestock. Inquisitive and sometimes troublesome, but small enough to physically move if you can catch them, of course.
With a cow, you know, if you can't get it to do something you want it to do, it's kind of irritating and can take a while and a lot of effort. With a goat, it's kind of like you pick it up and you put it where you want it, which is kind of convenient. Yeah, they're a lot easier to handle with that way, although they are mischievous and it's kind of harder to keep them in than it is a cow and deal with them that way.
With no fewer than 10 large dairy goat farms within 5 kilometers of the Frankens and the Ontario Dairy Goat Cooperative based in Teeswater, North Huron and Southern Bruce County are the meccas of goat milk in the province. It's a spot Emily Franken plans on spending most of her days.
It is a lot of work, but it's like I grew up with it. It's what I know. It's what I'm comfortable with. And once you start dealing with the animals a lot, you know which one's which, and you kind of get a good bond with all the animals. And you know their kids, and you find the generations, and it's just something I'd like to stick with.
Near Wingham, Scott Miller, CTV News.
And to check out all of our Fields to Fork stories, go to our website, london.ctvnews.ca. All right, Norman James is in with his first look at sports. And, you know, when we think of the Knights, we know them so well. They're so successful. Is there really another team called the Knights, or would there be one out there?
I don't think so. I think they would cause a lot of trouble, at least legally. Hello, everyone. Good to see you tonight. According to your London Knights, no one from the Las Vegas NHL franchise has contacted them regarding any usage of the name Knights. The new Vegas club is in search of a name. The Black Knights was one that came up quite a bit, and it is the name of team owner Bill Foley's company. Though Foley said in a recent interview having Knights in the team name would be too problematic, the London Knights own the name in Canada, and Vegas could not use it here. The franchise is reportedly exploring names like Red Hawks and Nighthawks. Will keep you posted. Canadian swimming sensation Penny Oleksiak is on the verge of making some pretty serious history, and it could happen tonight. She has a shot at becoming the first Canadian to win 4 medals at a single Summer Games. She's into the finals of the 100-meter freestyle this evening, having already won a silver and a pair of bronze medals in Rio. And oh, by the way, she's only 16. Toronto's Daniel Nestor and Vancouver's Vasek Pospisil lost in the men's doubles semifinals to Rafael Nadal and Marc Lopez of Spain. Nestor won gold in this event back at the 2000 Sydney Games. The Canadians will instead play for bronze.
Thank you very much.
All right, talk to you in a bit.
All right. Well, there is still plenty more to talk about from Rio, from Canada's historic emergence in the pool, as well as some security and safety issues taking place. Here's CTV's Omar Sashadina.
Beaming with her bronze medal, Catherine Savard says it's a moment she'd long prepared for, but didn't necessarily expect.
It was really emotional, but really awesome.
Savard and her teammates got the medal in the 4x200 meter freestyle relay, Canada's first Olympic medal in that event ever.
I didn't even know that. I've learned this morning that it was the first one ever, so it's pretty amazing.
The victory is another show of Canada's extraordinary strength in the pool at these games.
We're getting good. I mean, we have a really young team, and it's amazing to be part of that.
Meanwhile, IOC officials faced more questions about the green water in the diving and polo pools, reiterating that testing showed there was no risk to athletes. More questions, too, about security, especially after Tuesday's attack on a media bus.
Every single bus that comes from the Odoro to the Olympic Park in Barra is now escorted from the tow to the Olympic Park by a military vehicle.
Officials insist that vandals threw stones at the bus. Witnesses say it sounded like gunshots.
In light of all the problems, an IOC spokesperson was asked today whether there were any regrets about awarding Rio these games. He said no, insisting that history will view these Olympics, South America's first, as a, quote, landmark achievement. Omar Sachedina, CTV News, Rio de Janeiro.
All right, Julie is back, and we saw some rain, which we desperately needed. Is more on the way for us?
A chance for more rainfall tomorrow. Now, not everyone in the viewing area picked up rain. I was posting the video of the funnel cloud, and people are saying there's thunderstorms in the area today. Yes, I know lots of you did not pick up rainfall, and you could use it. We have the chance for showers tomorrow and again on Saturday. But hundreds of people in France remain out of their homes after dangerous wildfires threaten the city of Marseille. Fierce flames whipped by strong winds pushed closer to the city. Right now, Marseille appears to have escaped unscathed. But the winds remain active, and that could change the situation quickly. It's still unclear how the wildfires started. Our high today in London, 29 degrees, so not quite as hot as it's been over the past couple of days, but it was more humid this afternoon. So when we picked up the showers and thunderstorms, of course, that added all of that water to the air and the water vapor. It felt like 42 degrees this afternoon. So if you were out and about, I'm sure you could notice, even after the rain came through, you could just feel the moisture in the air. 18 degrees, the low temperature last night. It will be warmer as we move through the overnight. Right now in the city, sitting at our high at 29 degrees, 30 to 32 along the lake shore. Some areas, again, not picking up any rainfall today. And for you, it was a hot, stifling afternoon with the intense humidity. How much longer is it going to last is the question, of course. And good news, not much. We have the chance for showers and thunderstorms out ahead of this front over the next couple of days. It's not going to be one of those cold fronts, though, that comes through and you notice the change right away. It'll be slow with the air mass moving in behind it. So Sunday into Monday, the humidity breaks. Severe weather tonight, well, in terms of thunderstorms, yes, we have that special weather statement. We've had our heat warning in effect through the week. Not quite as active tonight as it's been earlier in the week across the prairies.